Okay, let's get this over with before I lose my mind. Week 4 wasn't as competitive as Week 3. There was way funner games in Week 3 than there was Week 4. And if you guys know, I'm a bit salty because 49ers lost a tough one against the Eagles. And we were the guys who snuffed the Jets earlier. We, of course, opened off with Thursday Night Football the previous week with an obvious one-sided victory over the Denver Broncos 37 to 28. There was an opening scrambling touchdown of Sam Darnold. He came with two scrambling touchdowns, finished off with 23 of 42. The guy had poor reads down deep. I was shocked he went over to Jamison Crowder for some short pass plays over to Jeff Smith. He had some decent down the middle plays over to Chris Hogan, but for nothing. Christopher Henderson, there was nothing. Just the game was just complete slugfest later on that he threw at least I don't think he threw a pick six, but that came off the third string quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Because we didn't know Drew Lock is suffering from a wrist injury, so they started quarterback Brett Ripien that went 19 and 31 and threw two pick sixes, and one was over to Desir that got mossed by Cortland Sutton. Until later on, they had to start off Joe Flacco. It was like a barrage of decent substitutions and cheap shots from the New York Jets. Like, I thought the game would never be over. And I just felt like Marcus May wasn't doing anything. Lamar Jackson was barely doing anything. Brian Poole was just getting mossed. Who else? Didn't Desir get, Pierre Desir got nothing. He got mossed off Sutton. He got out routed in a big play because, he doesn't have any footwork. And it just took a while until Ripien just came onto the field and he threw a silly pick six. It didn't mean anything. Sam Darnold played better than he last did because he can use his legs, and I wish they did more over to spread ground for him in the pocket, but we know how it is for the Jets. Even if they take two steps forward, they'll take 17 foot backward, then fumble, then we have a fumble on the play for a touchdown, and then a two-point conversion. Then a script kick goes back to the kicking team. Other than that, yeah, the Jets go winless. They face off against Arizona that they are probably going to lose because at least Arizona has a semblance of an offense, a confidence on the defensive front, and I like their quarterback. So that's going to be a positive right there. I don't even know if there's even going to be a possibility. The only positive is that they're going to be in home field. Like, that even matters over the complaints over what happened last time, over their field complaints when they faced off against San Fran. They had that kind of dysfunction, but they still got snuffed off. While Denver, that has an easy and out, they're still off of injuries, and they got New England, that's obviously coming out of their little COVID outbreak with Cam Newton missing out on a couple players, you know, because now got to spend time with family. That's a one-sided affair in itself. And over being one of the weaker, when both teams had to be the weaker offensive teams in the NFL, something's gonna go awry because I think both teams are losing come this week. This was a gimme game for the Denver Broncos because as incompetent they are on the offensive front, they are decent on the defensive front. They can stop teams with mediocre O lines. So hopefully enough they'll get something. But they're starting Ripien probably again, so I can't accept it's gonna be tough to see what in the hell is gonna come out of this game. Another disappointing game I'm gonna go over is of course the Dallas Cowboys facing off against the Cleveland Browns this week, and I have to say, man, what the hell? Like, didn't Cam Newton have like 3 receiving yards in this game? Oh god, I gotta really shut this off, man. I don't know why don't they instantly mute. but he had like 3 receiving yards. Dak Prescott went 450 over some plays. He had an out route play over to CeeDee Lamb. Then he keeps chucking the ball, and then whenever the offense do something, they can't carry it up with the defense. They have an average pass rush, but other than that, they can't defend over the deep ball, and that just has Landry, their tight end, and Nick Chubb running circles. Odell Beckham was having a field day. I think it was like 28-7 come halftime until the Cowboys finally got their stuff in order. And finally, we have, of course, the legendary, cowboy behavior. We them boys, we're gonna have it done. You see the guys we have? We got Alden Smith. We we picked up a good front seven. Our our D our D tackles are literally lit. CeeDee Lamb's amazing. We got a great tight end. We we still got Dak, and we're about to get him that money next year because he's gonna get us a Super Bowl. So there's no excuses. And you guys get snuffed against the Browns 49-38. You guys were down by double digits at the time of halftime. And now you come off currently 1-3 in a mediocre again NFC East division. Eagles are like sub 500 at this point. The Washington football team just got stomped against Baltimore. And we, of course, have the New York Giants that have their own injury issues, but at least they're supposedly supposed to be freaking rebuilding. So there's an understandability factor there. You're supposed to be the odds on favorite over to the NFC East, and here you are having a snuff out against Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying that the Browns have no talent. I'm not taking anything away from that. But over some of their mediocre performances earlier up in the season and them having a breakout performance against you on home field, there's a problem. Even if Dak Prescott had a premier game, if your defense can stack anything up and they're obviously allowing that much yardage to be done, what's with you guys? There was also 500 total yardage of Cincinnati with the first career win of Cincinnati. Guess who else got their first season win over in 4 weeks? The Philadelphia Eagles against the 49ers. That's a clap. That's a clap, bro. Bengals beat the Jaguars 33-25. Didn't see much of this game. We of course had the Cardinals against the Panthers, and it was just penalized field day. Play action, hit Burgess, hit Robbie Anderson, run off McCaffrey, and just edge the clock down. It just, oh boy, man. I don't like making fun of younger teams because obviously it was just bullying what I watched. Another game I was disappointed with over the underperformance of the Vikings. I thought this would be a gimme game for the Texans. I really thought they still go winless. This is a team that led the AFC South for quite a while with Deshaun Watson. It came off 126 over Kirk Cousins having his premier performance, not even throwing an interception over his rookie decisions down the pocket. And sometimes he'd be staying too long, he overchucks it, relying too much on trying to get Thielen open. And sometimes he'll find Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson came 103 with Adam Thielen going 114 with a touchdown catch. Kyle Rudolph, I think they reverse called it, and I swore he went for a one-handed grab. But there was only one touch, but I think it got reversed later on in the game. And but it still came off a cool catch. We, of course, had Dalvin Cook getting 2 touchdowns, going 130. I think he was the leading rusher this week. It was a premier game. The defense was just snuffing out whenever Deshaun Watson was just getting completely, you know, Deshaun Watson, he got 300 yards, but he got, sacked a lot. he got sacked a lot, and most of his plays came off him rushing behind the line of scrimmage just so he can get away from the defense. That's not his fault, man. DJ will home, man. I just feel bad. I feel bad. Yannick Njoku came with 2 sacks on Deshaun Watson. There was only like 4 pass deflections the entire game, and Eric Hendricks came off a close call interception against Deshaun Watson. There was a couple big deep pass plays over to Will Fuller, and then he gave another one over to Kenny Stills over a deep pass that even helped to win the game because I swear that was late in the game. Absolutely not. They move on winless. 0-4. Come on, man. Next up, we have the Saints against the Lions. And I gotta say, the Lions came to play. Kerryon Johnson was there to play. I thought there was better offensive help. I think they even picked off Drew Brees twice in this game. The Lions were more competitive than I've seen them in quite a while now, and I don't really compliment the Lions. Of course, we had Adrian Peterson having some decent carry-ons, even getting a red zone touchdown for the Lions. We had a DeAndre Swift touchdown, and since 2019, they have had 10 games uh, where they were close by double digits. I gotta say, Adrian Peterson's having career night, and I felt like his time in the football team was pretty nice because we actually got to see him run through the green a lot more. They opened up a lot more key gaps for him. Adrian Peterson is playing like it was 2008, and that's always a good thing. Alvin Shinsuke Nakamura went 81 yards rushing over Latavius Murray. Emmanuel Sanders, we also had Jaquan Smith that got some sneaky plays down the red zone. I think there was barely any deep balls off the Saints, and just a decent lockdown. I thought the rushing was better than it was last year when they had an issue even getting Kerryon Johnson on healthy. But Stafford played a well done game of football. Kenny Galladay even caught a deep ball over for a touchdown. Danny Amendola had some deep plays, always reliable over to the slot, and I thought he was useful, especially over his veteranship on the receiving core. Jesse James, I'm not seeing much of DeAndre Swift. We got a decent red zone touchdown over T.J. Hawkinson. I think he grabbed it over a guy because of his height, and that's obviously why they try to get him because they want to be a rip-off Patriots so bad. I still think their coach sucks. I do see raw talent on this Lions team, but it needs to be like more embraced. I think they need a way better coach. And did you hear something about Ron Rivera getting assisted over the field because I think he's having a fight with chemo or something, man? Uh, big ups to Ron Rivera, but if that was me, man, I would just stay off the field and get a substitute. At this point, I respect Ron Rivera too much for that. There was no Marvin Jones, and there was barely any Marvin Jones. He had 1 reception, only targeted twice, and only 9 yards. I was a bit shocked. Christian Jones only got 1 tackle for loss next to Reggie Ragland and Danny Shelton, Pinsley. There wasn't that much except stopping Kamara, or at least stopping Taysom Hill. Still couldn't stop the passing or the short pass plays that obviously got bigger yardage. But I was mildly entertained off this game, and it was good to see the Lions actually play competitive game of football. But whenever they play competitively, it's gonna end up in heartbreak. I'm sorry, man. I remember back in that game. I think it was 2018 when they had the Falcons. I think it was week 4, week 5. They come off a penalty short. Literally, it was off a penalty off a grab over the end zone, and it was a scoring drive off the Lions. Marvin Jones, I think, caught the ball. Then they got it reversed because they thought he was like just it wasn't a correct catch. So they reversed it, and the Falcons took the win. And I thought that was like the worst way how to lose a game. So, wow. Washington football team lost to the Baltimore Ravens, and that was like a gimme game for the Ravens after their tough upset loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. So it was like venting your frustration against a weaker opponent in the tournament, a round robin, because obviously we don't get single knockout into the playoffs. So, yeah, I've the biggest play was literally just a read option off Lamar Jackson, a deep play over to the tight end. Uh, I don't think there was much off the Washington football team even doing it, because that's literally it. They're just essentialized as a Washington football team. They lose 31-17. They were just getting mangled up the ghost. I mean, they were notable for getting some sacks on Lamar Jackson, but they couldn't be anywhere close near the first down. Sometimes they do risque decisions, going for those short passes over the flats, and then they were making rookie mistakes. And the Washington football team sometimes be playing decent football, but not like that. Lamar was the leading rusher, obviously. Marcus Peters came off a cool interception. Marlon Humphrey forced a fumble over a short play, and that was like the first quarter. Calais Campbell got a pass deflection. Guess who else? Matt Judon, Marlon Humphrey, even Anthony Everett, and Deshaun Elliott. This is just a gimme game, man. I mean, if you want me to go into more further detail, you have to make me a Ravens fan. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because 2013 happened. So, we had the Chargers lose to the Buccaneers in a really freaking close game. Like, I was shocked it even came that close. We came off bad reads off Tom Brady to Justin Herbert hitting off Keenan Allen for 21-yard bombs, and then hitting off back and fronts later on until the Tampa Bay Buccaneers kept it together in the first half. Like, you know how unanswered it was, other than a Mike Evans short touchdown pass. There was rarely any penalty plays that came off Tom Brady making the mistakes he did. He didn't even hit Rob Gronkowski for a touchdown. And I want to like notarize what's even there because he was like targeted like a few times and then missed out a couple of drops. But Justin Herbert literally had a career game. I'll give it to him. He went 290 with 3 touchdown passes and only 1 interception. Hey, if I had a close game against one of the greatest players and they went over the entire game going over the age differential, I get it. Tom Brady's one of the older quarterbacks in the NFL. But if he still plays like like a top 10 player, I don't care. But Justin Herbert, he came off legitimately as the lead rusher. Austin Eckler somehow didn't want to play. But I gotta say, Keenan Allen, Tyron Johnson, and Jalen Guyton, they were like bombs all over the place. And I was shocked to even see them even come up that close. And they were off a tremendous lead. They came off freaking 24 to 14 come halftime. Then an unanswered 24 points in the second half, with them only going with only 7 points in the third quarter. So it was falling out of Justin Herbert's tremendous passing, moving out the pocket, then Tom Brady finally collecting it together and coming back after what looked to be a tough game for the Buccaneers, and obviously, you expected them to actually blow out the Chargers, and they have gonna have close games like this. It's gonna be shocking to see what they can do next week against the Bears, because that's how they're gonna open up Week 5 on Thursday nights this afternoon. And they're a tough defensive team, and they're probably gonna start Nick Foles. because Mitchell Trubisky suffered an injury over the previous game against the Colts. And I think they won that game. I don't know. I don't think they won that game. But still, though, imagine how much of a deflator that has to be. I mean, they got the job done. They came off some big short pass touchdowns, and they finished the game 38-31. But some people thought it would have been 38-14. But Justin Herbert came to play, and I was impressed off the rookie. So hopefully next week when the Chargers have the Saints on Monday night, it'll be a fun game. Giants lost 9-17. They kept the Rams on bay. We had the Bills beating beating the Raiders 30 to 23, and I thought this is at least a better calming game from what they had against LA last week, where they choked the lead and they came back. Then the Rams choke a lead. Colts beat the Bears, going 3-1. And after a COVID outbreak, the rescheduled Sunday night game is now a Monday night doubleheader with the Patriots obviously losing. Like I think they had to start over with Brian Hoyer, and then they got the third string off where he threw two straight pick sixes. It was like a gimme game. There was like no point going over it. Centralized. They came off like a couple pass deflections. They started their defense started strong in the second half. I was just paying attention at the Falcons and Packers games because I know there are at least two healthy starting quarterbacks, two fun offenses to watch. I'd rather watch that than I'm gonna watch a team without Rex Buckhead that wasn't the guy from last week, and of course Cam Newton's not playing, and their team is just going to be in a different style because they don't have the prime player ready, and they obviously don't have two primitive, reliable second string quarterbacks. So there's no point watching the game. So even though the Packers beat the shit out of them, I gotta say the Packers beat the crap out of them, 30-16. I mean, we had some decent carries of off Todd Gurley, but other than that, it was an absolute decisive game by the Packers. Moving out the pocket, we already had them like we had some missed plays off Calvin Ridley over some short pass plays. They were just doing check down after check down over Julio Jones until they tried to pick it up in the third quarter. Aaron Rodgers went going 300 yards, 4 touchdown passes with no picks. He hit over Robert Tynyan for like 3 touchdowns for 98 yards, and Jamal Williams was just used as a second string halfback, was just used over the short pass plays and used down for most post routes. Aaron Jones was a freaking nightmare down the gut. He was, and he went over 71 yards and he played a pretty good game getting those first downs for the team. I think there was one stiff arm that went up for a touchdown, and it was crazy. I was impressed. There was a crazy hurdle, leap and bounds for one of the Falcon players, and they went up for a touchdown, and that what got me hooked still into the game until I forgot the Packers were still gonna hook this together. Kenny King nearly had a pass deflection. We had Adrian Amos play pretty good football. Darnell Savage. I think there was a call on Hallman, but I think Kenny King had some decent coverage on Calvin Ridley, especially stopping up their tight end. but it was just easy. Way too easy. Packers start undefeated. And that's Monday Night Football, man. That concludes week 4. We're going to go to week 5, where we're going to have some semblance of competition. And when I mean semblance of competition, I mean nothing. Of course, we're going to have Tampa Bay open up against the Bears. Washington football team against the Rams. Bills against Titans. We have the Eagles against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's probably going to be a decent game. But over the semblance of injuries the Eagles been getting and how hot the Steelers are, because I think they're starting 4-0, it's going to be tough to see how the momentum can cross, because the Eagles got their first win just in week 4, and they're coming off an injured 49ers team with obviously some weaknesses to draw over their second string quarterback while they're still with their starter. And of course, the Cardinals probably going to snuff the Eagles and the Jets, and the Vikings, I mean the Raiders, that's been playing all right football, but still not that good enough to compete with top teams. So the Chiefs could obviously snuff out their division rivals. Jaguars underperform against Cincy and cost them to get their first win of the season against another mediocre Rise. So this is literally a game to just get out of a tough losing streak, and I feel like this could go to the Texans. They play their cards right, evade their depleting defense, especially when you allow 500 of total offensive yardage. Come on, Jaguars. That was just terrible. Bengals, and they're probably going to get snuffed against Baltimore, but we'll see some decent plays up Joe Burrow. Atlanta against the Panthers. I see the Panthers winning this one. Miami got San Fran, and I see us winning that one. Cowboys against Dallas. I'll go more thorough detail when the game is over. These are just my silly picks because I want this short and sweet. Cowboys against the Giants. This could be a gimme game for the Cowboys if they can play their cards right, and they could just not keep it that subjective, and they won't make any dumb plays where it feels like they're trying to make Dak Prescott feel like Aaron Rodgers. Browns against the Colts. This could be a competitive game. Patriots against the Denver Broncos. I don't know how long Cam Newton will be gone, but hopefully it'll be short. I mean, hopefully they can handle over Ripien, and it will just be two boring second string quarterbacks playing that I don't think anybody wants to see. Vikings against the Seattle Seahawks, and we end off with Saints versus Los Angeles Chargers. That's going to be week 5, but I just went over my recap for week 4. Hopefully you guys liked it. Going over what I've seen so far, not the most impressive week of football other than trying to gain up some momentum. Bills and Titans is going to be a really fun game. I can't wait for that. I want redemption for the 49ers after losing to a mediocre Eagles team that don't even have good play calling in their system at all. Seeing how the Chargers played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, imagine what kind of close game they'll have against the Saints, and I might watch it. We have the Giants against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm probably gonna watch a tank bowl with the Jaguars and the Texans, seeing how they've been underperforming, starting 0-4. And that's practically it. There's not that many must-see games to watch unless you like the Buccaneers versus the Bears. That's opening off week 5, and that's up to you. I mean, it's going to be tough to see what they can do against an all-around defense. And this is still like a new systematic team, and seeing Tom Brady struggle off, try to get used to a new team that off Arians, and he does have young targets, and it shows that he is getting used to the team, but it's going to take quite a while. And seeing you got to play against a tough team like the Bears defense, it's going to be really tough. But it's going to be a fun game nonetheless. No, I'm not talking about offensively, just to see Tom Brady sacked a couple times. But yeah, that's my video. Thanks for watching. I'll probably or not put a link to my Monday Night Raw review. But that's it for me.